travel isn't just about destinations, it's about the people you meet, the cultures you immerse yourself in, the stories you carry home. I'm Relebogile Mabocha, and on my travel feature, I take you on a journey beyond the guidebook. Each week, I connect with fellow travelers, insiders, and storytellers to bring you the heart of every place. Whether it's a hidden gem right here in South Africa or a dream destination abroad. Join me as we travel through conversations, memories, and inspiration. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
You're with Clement Manyathela.
702. Let's walk the talk.
So today we're wrapping up a series that we started a couple of weeks ago about what different beliefs say about the afterlife. We've been on quite a journey, right? And we're wrapping it up today. And I really hope that this series has helped you understand that you are more than your physical body, no matter what your belief system is. The human experience is more than this body. And I think we should be curious enough to ask questions about other parts of our human experience, whether it's our spirit or our soul. Some people, as you've heard so far during this series, believe in eternal life. Some people believe in reincarnation. Some people believe that when you die, that's the end. You just cease to exist in your entirety. We've looked at what different Christian denominations believe about the afterlife. We looked at what Islam teaches about the afterlife, looked at African spirituality. We looked at Judaism. We looked at atheism and agnosticism. We focused on what Buddhism teaches about the afterlife. And last week we looked at what Hinduism, what does it say about the afterlife, where death is seen as a transition rather than an end, at least from what we heard last week. And today we wrap up by looking at the Nazareth Baptist Church, also known as the Shembe Church. The Shembe Church has a rich and unique blend of Christian doctrine and Zulu traditional beliefs, particularly when it comes to death and the afterlife. So we've invited Reverend Joseph Mhlongo, who is a reverend from the Nazareth Baptist Church, to help us understand more about what the belief systems are within the institution and as far as the afterlife is concerned. Reverend Mhlongo, thank you for making time for us. Good morning.
Good morning to the listeners.
Let's start just with the basics to help our listeners who may not be familiar with the Nazareth Baptist Church. How is the church different from mainstream Christianity, if at all?
Firstly, I would like to open the book of Timothy. It's the second Timothy 2, starting from 14, because we are taught not to allow the arguing about the work of God. I think here I'm not coming to argue. I only came to talk about what Shembe taught us after he have received the testimony from God in the mountain of Hlangakazi. The difference is that we are Nazarene. We respect the 20 commandments. Different between us and the Christians, because we are not Christians. Although we follow the teachings of Christ. But we are not Christians. We are Nazareth because we took an oath that we'll be keeping the God's law from Genesis to Isambulo, which is the last book. Now, the Christian is different from us. We are different.
Okay. How does the Shembe Church then define life after death? What happens to the soul, for instance, of a Shembe follower after they die? What does the church teach about that?
If you read the book of Isambulo, the last book, is explaining that there is two lives. If we were not good in the first life, The second life will be giving you trouble too.
Mm-hmm.
The first life is where you get the power to rise on the second life, which is spiritual life. The physical life, you have chance to feed the spiritual.
Oh, Reverend Mhlongo, the line is dropping there. It's not holding. So I'm putting you back to the producers to try and sort that out, because I really would like us to get you on a better line. As you've heard, they don't necessarily define themselves as Christians, but I really want to find out more about what does the church teach about the afterlife. And maybe you go to the Shembe Church yourself. Why don't you give us a call on 011-883-0702 or send a WhatsApp on 072-702-1702 about what the teachings have been. Or maybe you just want to reflect broadly about what you've learned so far in as far as this series is concerned, because we've had different guests looking at different belief systems every single week. So what do you believe happens after we die? You can share your thoughts with us as well. We'll be back after this.
Travel isn't just about destinations. It's about the people you meet, the cultures you immerse yourself in, the stories you carry home. I'm Relebogile Mabotja, and on my travel feature, I take you on a journey beyond the guidebook. Each week, I connect with fellow travelers, insiders, and storytellers to bring you the heart of every place. Whether it's a hidden gem right here in South Africa or a dream destination abroad. Join me as we travel through conversations, memories, and inspiration. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
You're with Clement Manyathela.
702.
12 minutes before 10 o'clock, we've managed to re-establish that line with Reverend Joseph Mhlongo, who is the Reverend at the Nazareth Baptist Church. I'll go to your WhatsApps as well in a moment. But Reverend, we've got you on a better line now. You are still explaining what the Shembe Church teaches about the afterlife and how they define life after death.
Yes. Because our belief is that there is God. God is Konyana. My English is not good. That's why I'll be in Zulu sometimes. It's like Konyana. We as the believers, we are like Umakoti. That's the belief of the Shembe Church.
Yeah.
Then when we take an oath of getting married, there is no divorce. To us, it's not like other denominations where they talk of divorce. That's why with Nazareth they said, "Yawuhlala endlini kaJehova kuze kube sekupheleni kwensuku zakho," meaning you'll stay in the house of God until you die.
Mm-hmm.
That means if you go out of the house of God, after death, you will be like a widow because you will be having no mkonyane, which is the husband. Now for us, we said we're going to stay in the house of God until we're dead. Meaning we'll be keeping the laws of God, not the laws of the denomination or the archbishop or any of that. Now the difference is that as Nazareth, we go far from the numeric 6 where it said don't cut your hairs, don't drink alcohol, only when you're asking for something from God. For us, you do that until you die. That is the difference. Now we are the Makotis of God, which will never divorce. That is the difference.
Okay.
We keep everything that God gave to us. If God gave you the hairs, you keep the hairs. If God said you must never drink alcohol, we don't drink alcohol. If God said you mustn't be covered with the other spirit, like the Sangoma spirit, we don't believe in Sangoma spirit.
Mm-hmm.
We don't believe in Sangoma spirit, there is only one spirit that is covering us. It's the Spirit of God that met with Shemba on the mountain of Hlangakazi.
Speaking of...
That's the difference.
Yeah, and speaking of what you term as the Sangoma spirit, what role do ancestors play in the afterlife according to the Shembe faith?
Then when you talk about ancestors, even in spirit, there is two lives. There is evil spirit, there is kin spirit. So, I don't know whether we can put it together as ancestors, but the evil spirits, they are not angelic. But they are those kin spirits. We believe those kin spirits, we can still respect them, but we don't bow before them. But we respect them. If it was your father, it's still your father, even if it's passed away. It's not a demon. The only thing that is a demon is if they never reach heaven. It's the same spirit that came back into those who are living and said, I need a space from you. I want to stay in your flesh. Because they never get this place in heaven. The spirit we're talking about, we call them ancestors to obey, is those who rose up after death, who were doing good things when they were in physical life. That is the belief.
Okay, and
as we have two physically, we have those who are listening to the Pharisees who are teaching the wrong teachings. We believe what Shembe told us because everything that Shembe told us is found from the Bible. Well, we believe there is Christ, but we don't call ourselves Christians.
Okay. So, speaking of heaven then, do you believe as the Shembe Church in heaven and in hell?
When it comes to that, although it's a very hard answer to give, but we believe there is heaven. We believe those who don't do right will die twice, will die in spirit again. After dying in physically, they will die in spirit again. That's the belief. Then those who are dead in spirit, we believe they're not going to heaven because their spirit is dead. Then they're going to go to hell.
And your relationship then with the good, quote unquote, good ancestors, how do you acknowledge them? Do you believe that they can send messages from the other side? Or your relationship only goes as far as just acknowledging that there were these people that we think lived good here?
Yes, we believe they can give. We believe they can give. As you remember, one day when Jesus went to the mountain, he met with the good spirit of Elijah and Moses. If Elijah and Moses came to Jesus on the mountain, how could our Father, who were respecting the God's law, can't reach with us, can't give anything to us, or can't talk to us? They can talk to us because they talked to Jesus on the mountain, because they were in good spirit.
Okay, and then they can speak what? Through who do they speak? And do they speak?
It could be on visions when you're sleeping. It could be. But you always use the testimonies that Shembe gave us about God. When they came back and talked something that was not in the testimony, then you will know this is an evil spirit, because what he talk about is not in the Bible, and it's not what Shembe taught us. That's how we acknowledge.
Mm-hmm. There's a question.
Because we're using the prophecy. We're using the prophecy and the testimonies. The testimonies is giving you the answer. Where is the spirit coming from? Is the evil spirit? Is a good spirit? The testimony and the prophecy is giving us that.
Okay, I've got a question here from a listener about the role that Prophet Shembe then plays in the spiritual world after death. What is the role that he plays?
What I can tell you is that we used to talk about when Jesus talked about the person doesn't put the light on and put it under the table. Now, in that way, Shembe is standing on one side of our spiritual life and one side of our physical life. Then there is a God next to him. We are in between. God is an olive tree. Shembe is a container that takes the olive oil from the olive tree and feed us with the oil from the olive tree. That's how he is playing. Whoever is fed about the olive oil from God, who sent Shembe to be the container of that olive oil and give it to us. Then that olive oil is the same oil that will make our spirit like a burning lamp. But before you come to that, to the spiritual being, you must be fed physically. As the members or as the believers, we believe whatever Shembe is teaching us is going to work when we go to the spiritual life.
Got it. Reverend Joseph Mhlongo, really appreciate your time this morning on the show. He's Reverend at the Nazareth Baptist Church. So this is how we wrap up this installment, the series, in fact, about what different beliefs say about the afterlife. We've looked at so many. And yeah, I just have my own thoughts, and maybe we can dedicate some time to maybe speak about what we've learned from all the conversations that we've had about different beliefs, people who believe, people who don't believe that there's a greater creator or higher power out there. What does that really tell you about us as the human species and why we're here? Is it by chance that all these different beliefs are there about how we live, about how we're going to die? And if really the reason was always for us to have these different beliefs or to have people believing differently, what was the purpose of that? And I suppose those are the questions I myself have also been asking. And maybe we should dedicate some time to look at what we've learned from having observed and learned about other belief systems.